The room is a testament to a brutal conflict with still figures scattered across the floor. A young man pants heavily, the exertion and shock of the event etched on his face. He struggles to recall the specific details surrounding the day he met his end. A sudden flashback shows him being seized by dark sinister tendrils. He remembers frantically running through a scene of utter chaos as the appendages erupted around him. Back in the present, his hand decisively closes around a discarded firearm. He swiftly turns, preparing to confront whatever is still lurking in the shadows. With a grimace of determination, he pulls the trigger and fires at his target. His fragmented memory can only conjure images of a monster and an angel. A volley of shots impacts the shadowy creature, creating a series of bright flashes. His memory flashes back to what should have been just another ordinary day at the office. But that normalcy was shattered when a monstrous tendril fatally struck him down. He recalls the bitter irony of his mundane life meeting such an extraordinary end. The shock and agony of the final blow are seared into his mind. He remembers trembling, clutching the ghastly wound that sealed his fate. As he lay helpless, a command was given and a swift blade moved to strike. The angelic figure from his memory appears, a red-haired warrior in brilliant golden armor. She unleashes a furious barrage of slashes, carving through the dark appendages with ease. In an instant, the creature is reduced to severed pieces around the fallen man. The warrior looks down, realizing she arrived just moments too late to save him. His hand trembles, desperately trying to hold himself together at the sight of the fatal blow. Slumped against the lockers, he gasps for his final breaths, the life draining from him. With a final ragged wheeze, he accepts the cold reality that his time is up. The angelic warrior lands gracefully on the scene, a beacon of light in the grim aftermath. She steps forward with purpose, her golden armor radiating an otherworldly power. Kneeling beside him, she is the last person he sees, the one who changed his fate. He recognizes her as the mysterious angel who had just crashed into his world. A warm light glows from her hand as she assures him that his sacrifice saved the others. But her face is etched with regret as she confesses her inability to save him. He manages a faint blooded smile, content that he finally became the hero he always wished to be. The Valkyrie firmly takes his hand, refusing to let him go just yet. With his last ounces of strength, he asks for the name of his mysterious savior. She introduces herself as Raylena, a legendary Valkyrie of the Dawn. Raylena grips his hand, offering both a solemn apology and her deepest gratitude. She assures him that his final heroic act was enough to save their entire world. His life as a normal man ends, reborn as an unknown hero in the annals of history. But in the void, a crimson core shatters, signaling that his story is far from over. He finds himself reborn, standing defiantly before a terrifying legion of monsters. Now armed with a formidable spear, he channels a new immense power. An armored beast lets out a ferocious cry, lunging forward to test his newfound might. He effortlessly skews the beast, a fiery display of his newfound power. But the first kill is just a warm-up as a colossal maw erupts from the ground before him. A wicked grin spreads across his face, his eyes glowing with a thirst for battle. Without a hint of fear, he charges headfirst into the endless legion of darkness. His destiny is no longer tied to his old life, but to a brand new world. Suddenly, consciousness awakens in a vast empty expanse of stars. He finds himself back in his old clothes, feeling emotionally hollow despite just having died. He struggles to grasp his memories, which now feel distant and foggy. The images of the monster and the angelic warrior are all that remain clear in his mind. He looks around the cosmic void, wondering if this strange silent place is the afterlife. He calls out into the emptiness, sensing he's not alone in the cosmic expanse. A disembodied voice ripples through the void, addressing him simply as human. A colossal hooded figure emerges from the darkness, revealing that he possesses something at once. Stunned by the being's immense size, he demands to know its identity and its current location. The entity introduces itself as the Void, explaining his soul was shattered and brought to this final realm. It reveals that just enough of his soul was recovered for them to piece him back together. A blue flame, the essence of his reformed soul, ignites in his hand as he offers a dry thanks. He stares at the ethereal flame, confessing that this new existence has left him completely numb. The Void declares it has no need for gratitude, only for the seal he now holds. Confused, he denies any knowledge of a seal, questioning the entity's true motive. The Void reveals a seal bonded with his soul at the moment of his death, instructing him to access it. Skeptical, he internally scoffs at the vague command to reach into his own soul. Deciding not to anger the cosmic being, he takes a breath and prepares to attempt the impossible. As he concentrates, a brilliant blue light shines from his chest, surprising him. A system window materializes, welcoming the now identified Noah Brown to the astral system. Noah stares in disbelief at the holographic screen, amazed that his attempt actually succeeded. Reading the details, he learns the seal is a source of infinite potential fused directly to his soul. The colossal entity recoils, realizing the fusion makes separating the seal a near impossible task. Noah smirks at the entity's predicament, but the void reveals it has one final solution. The entity offers him a dark pact, become its vessel, and wield unimaginable power as its rebirth. The entity offers him a new life in exchange for becoming the path for its ever-growing hunger. Unfazed, Noah coolly inquires about the consequences of refusing this grand proposal. The void gives him a grim ultimatum, threatening to forcibly take his soul if he declines. It elaborates that his soul would be consumed just to extract the power of the seal within. A wry smile crosses Noah's face as he realizes the illusion of choice has been given. He sarcastically pushes back, cheekily asking if he's entitled to legal counsel for this cosmic deal. The entity dismisses mortal rules, explaining the pact is bound only by the power of their spirits. Noah shrewdly points out the inherent imbalance, questioning the trustworthiness of such a one-sided agreement. The void bluntly confirms his distrust is warranted, just as a system window appears with the official offer. He feels his humanity slipping away, the memory of what it means to be alive fading into the cosmic dust. He clenches his fist, deciding that a soul pact with a swirling void entity is a fundamentally bad idea. Noah boldly challenges the cosmic being, questioning why a god would need permission unless it was unable to take the seal by force. The entity finds his defiance intriguing, labeling him a uniquely perplexing soul. Done with the negotiations, the void unleashes shadowy tendrils that surge through the cosmic expanse. The dark appendages instantly wrap around Noah, binding him completely. A tendril tightens around his neck, violently silencing his protests. The void declares his choice unacceptable, its glowing eyes radiating immense, unforgiving power. Suspended and helpless, Noah struggles against the entity's overwhelming grip. The being offers a grim new deal: serve as its puppet, or it will simply harvest the seal from his dead soul. A new system window appears, framing the coercive ultimatum as a formal pact. With a snarl of pure defiance, Noah utterly rejects the entity's coercive offer. The system mocks his free will, presenting a new pact with two identical yes options. The void warns that his spirit is fracturing under its immense power and his time is short. It tries to tempt him with the promise of becoming a god among mortals, worshipped by all. Even as the tendrils tighten, he grits his teeth and vows never to bow to a monster. His unwavering resolve piques the entity's interest, prompting it to ask for his terms. The tendrils release him, and the cosmic being impatiently demands he state his price. Catching his breath, Noah cleverly latches onto the entity's earlier words about spirit strength. He boldly flips the script, proposing a new pact where his spirit holds control in exchange for his cooperation. The void scoffs at his proposal, questioning why it should bargain when it could simply destroy him. Noah smirks, confidently explaining the entity should bargain for the same reason it hasn't already destroyed him. The cosmic being concedes with an amused grin, impressed that a mortal has successfully outmaneuvered it. A system window confirms their dangerous pact as a powerful transformation begins to overwhelm Noah. As is consumed by the vortex, the void declares that its very essence is now bound to his spirit. The system announces his rebirth is complete, and the entity eagerly awaits to see what he'll do with this power. His hand breaks the surface of a swirling purple abyss, signaling his dramatic emergence. A system notification confirms his arrival in a new world called Erendir, summoned by an unknown call. He materializes in a grand ominous hall where robed figures chant for the great being of the abyss. His hand firmly plants on the glowing summoning circle as he fully arrives in this strange new realm. Disoriented, he sits up and surveys his surroundings, trying to get his bearings in the bizarre chamber. A robed cultist recoils in shock, stunned that their summoned being is sentient. The other cultists murmur in fear, wondering if this is some kind of divine test. As the cult continues its prostration, a hulking warrior drags a tribute toward the altar. The offering is revealed to be a bound woman, presented as a sacrifice to their new god. The warrior formally offers the woman's life to a bewildered Noah, who can only stare in disbelief. Noah's confusion quickly turns to horror and disgust at the unfolding ritual. The executioner unsheathes his massive blade, preparing to carry out the grim offering. He raises his sword high above the helpless captive, ready to strike the final blow. Noah's mind races, desperately searching for any information he can use to understand and survive this madness. Suddenly, a system window materializes with a new quest, giving him one simple urgent command: run. He stares in disbelief at the system menu, refusing to accept the quest's command. The system clarifies its urgent message, offering a map feature as a reward for escaping. Scrambling to his feet, he can't believe the system's only advice is to run. He realizes the cultists have mistaken him for some powerful ancient being they summoned. Deciding to play the part, he demands answers from the terrified cultists. A trembling cultist reveals they are in a realm called Erendir and have summoned him for a favor. He puts on a theatrical display of divine anger, questioning why they dared disturb his slumber. His terrible acting is surprisingly effective, sending the robed figures into a state of panic. Internally, scrambles for a plan, knowing he needs more information to survive. The system reveals a new perk, an identify skill that might just be the key he needs. He focuses his gaze, determined to use his new skill to see who these people really are. The system identifies the cultist, the executioner, and the captive, who he realizes might be his key to escape. A wicked grin spreads across his face as he hatches a plan, needing a distraction to pull it off. He opens his system inventory, revealing a single mysterious scroll waiting for him. Reaching into the holographic screen, he physically pulls the scroll out into the real world. Noah is surprised by the ease of it all while a nearby cultist marvels at his supposed teleportation magic. Unfurling the scroll, he finds a bizarre welcome letter, which the cultists mistake for a divine text. Seizing the opportunity, he holds the scroll aloft and issues his first divine decree to the stunned crowd. The robed figures murmur in confusion, shocked that their god wants the sacrifice to be his servant. With a menacing glare, he challenges their hesitation, asking if they dare to refuse his command. The cultists panic as their traditions dictate a blood sacrifice is necessary for any pact. Noah confidently strides forward, raising a hand to silence their protests. He approaches the captive woman, placing a hand on her shoulder as he prepares to enact his plan. Leaning in close, he secretly instructs her to play along and pretend she's under his control. He gives her a simple set of instructions for a theatrical performance to fool their captors. He dramatically lifts the woman, loudly proclaiming to the cult that she is now his vessel to command. The void entity, watching from within, furiously questions his reckless and unexpected actions. Noah's bravado falters for a moment as he realizes the cult's leadership is watching his every move. Realizing his bluff might be called, he quickly grabs the woman again, his internal panic rising. While one cultist marvels at the enslavement, the cult chief furiously declares that their summoned being is just a human. The cult chief roars with fury, his glowing eyes signaling the order to capture the imposter. As Noah is tackled, the system announces his escape quest has failed, replaced by a grim new mission, fight or die. Thrown violently across the stone floor, he sees a golden key clatter loose from the captive's bindings. Unleashing a brutal flurry of blows, Noah relentlessly strikes the hulking executioner. The once mighty warrior now lies trembling on the ground, his strength completely broken. He abruptly stops his assault, his attention captured by the gleaming key on the altar steps. Scrambling forward, he desperately reaches for the key, his only hope for turning the tables. With the key in hand, he prepares to throw it to the captive, urging her to break free. He hurls the key towards the woman, narrowly dodging a swift, vengeful strike from the recovering executioner. Spinning around, Noah faces his armed opponent, bracing himself for the deadly confrontation to come. The enraged executioner charges forward, his massive sword poised to cleave Noah in two. But just as the blade descends, shadowy tendrils erupt from Noah's back to block the attack. The void's power surges through him and a confident grin replaces his initial shock. Despite the intervention, the warrior's blade still finds its mark slicing deep into Noah's shoulder. He stares in disbelief as a system notification confirms a massive drop in his health. The executioner brutally rips his sword free, sending Noah staggering backward from the impact. Lying wounded on the floor, he watches helplessly as the warrior prepares to deliver the final blow. But as the sword falls, Noah's hand ignites with a strange fiery power. The executioner is suddenly engulfed in a torrent of flames, his attack halted by pure agony. Noah watches with wide eyes, just as surprised as anyone by his own destructive capabilities. The captive woman, now free, steps forward as the executioner sizzles in the background. Her hands ignite with fiery power as she prepares to face the charging cultists. She unleashes a sweeping arc of flames, clearing a path through her attackers. Standing defiantly, she becomes the calm center of a fiery storm of her own making. The woman unleashes a massive vortex of fire, sending the remaining cultists flying. Enraged by his followers' incompetence, the cult chief decides to intervene personally. The chief dashes past a wounded Noah, completely focused on his new, more powerful target. A system notification flashes, warning Noah that his health is now at a critical level. Despite his injuries, Noah forces himself up and grabs the fallen executioner's sword. Just as the chief attacks, Noah drives the blade into his back, aided by the power of the void. The cult chief collapses to the stone floor, the borrowed blade having found its mark. A flurry of system notifications confirms his victory and the completion of a secret objective. His health bar flashes a dire warning, showing only 7% remaining. The chief hits the ground with a final thud, his reign of terror brought to an abrupt end. The system highlights his success, revealing he not only won but also freed the captive, Aurelia Fausta. Noah stares in confusion, trying to process the sudden influx of information from the system. His strength finally gives out, and he falls to his knees as his health drops to a critical 6%. He collapses completely, the life draining from him as the last of his enemies falls nearby. He grimaces at the bitter irony of surviving one death only to face another immediately. His consciousness drifts into a familiar cosmic void where the system presents him with a life-altering choice. The system announces the start of his awakening process and his transport to a new astral space. He awakens to a blurry, unfamiliar sight, wondering where he has been taken this time. His vision clears, revealing he's inside a claw machine in what appears to be an arcade. Standing amidst the flashing lights, he reflects on how long it's been since he's been in such a place. A mysterious voice cuts through his thoughts, acknowledging his long-awaited arrival. He turns to see a man in glasses named Dylan calmly waiting for him behind a prize counter. Dylan offers a casual wave as if greeting an old friend in this bizarre setting. Noah immediately glares, demanding to know the man's identity and the nature of this strange place. He voices his suspicion, accusing the man of being another cosmic entity trying to manipulate him. The man, Dylan, calmly asks him to slow down, promising to explain everything. The man introduces himself as Dylan, revealing his lack of a last name is Noah's own subconscious doing. Noah scoffs at the bizarre explanation just as Dylan confirms his initial suspicion. Dylan reveals he is a representative from the void here to uphold their pact. He clarifies that his presence in this astral space is a reluctant consequence of their deal. Noah approaches an old arcade cabinet trying to make sense of his new reality. Grabbing the joystick, he questions if this entire arcade is his astral script. The machine was to life, its screen flashing brightly as he activates it. A system message offers him a choice of 3 paths for his awakening, leaving him to wonder what an astral script is. Dylan impatiently explains that the astral script is a magical manifestation of Noah's own soul. He gestures around the room, stating this arcade is the familiar form his soul has chosen for its astral space. A nostalgic smile crosses Noah's face as he recognizes the arcade from his youth. Still gripping the joystick, he questions his purpose in this strange game-like space. Dylan steps forward explaining that while this isn't his usual role, Noah's situation is an exception. He gives a simple instruction, telling Noah to press the start button to begin the process. The machine's screen flashes welcoming him to Astral Fighter and noting an anomaly is integrating his past life. A character selection screen appears, prompting Dylan to explain the 4 core attributes that will define Noah's power. Standing beside him, Dylan clarifies that choosing a path will enhance these attributes and make him stronger. Dylan warns that while better paths offer bigger boosts, they might also limit his long-term growth. The system displays the Warrior class, a standard path offering a simple attribute point per level. Noah scrolls through the other basic options, finding them all to be similar starting points for his new journey. Dylan suggests they check other machines for better options and Noah agrees, unimpressed with the current choices. The Void's representative points to a new cabinet, recommending a healing-focused path for Noah's survival. Noah steps up to the new machine and presses a button to see what it offers. A list of healing classes appears, making Noah wonder if this choice will mend his fatal wounds. Dylan shatters his hope, revealing that time is merely slowed and he'll return to the brink of death. His attention is suddenly drawn to a far more intriguing and ominous-sounding class option. The system reveals a rare Exsanguinator class, a path that weaponizes the very essence of defeated foes. Dylan confirms it's a viable path for both healing and harming, which gets a nod of approval from Noah. With 2 more machines left to explore, Noah's determination to find the perfect path grows. While Dylan looks on pensively, Noah seems to be enjoying the process of building his new self. Dylan points to the 3rd machine, confidently recommending the paths it contains. He scoffs at the Void's Herald path, refusing to become a puppet and preferring tactical control. He moves to the final machine, thoughtfully weighing his options as Dylan looks on. An Astral Walker path appears, an epic class focused on interdimensional travel and mystic power. He then discovers the Void Hunter path, a class that weaponizes his natural instincts and void affinity. Ignoring Dylan's exasperated sigh, Noah decides to combine all 3 high-tier paths for his awakening. With his decision made, he firmly grips the joystick and presses the start button to lock in his choice. He flinches as a sudden surge of energy erupts from the machine, signaling the start of the process. The arcade screen flickers into static as shadowy tendrils begin to ooze into the room. The dark essence coalesces into a menacing shape on the screen before surging forward to envelop his hands. The tendrils violently seize Noah, yanking him toward the machine as he struggles against their grip. Dylan smirks, casually mentioning a crucial detail he conveniently forgot to share. A swirling vortex of dark energy materializes before Noah, pulling him into its chaotic depths. The Void's representative reveals the awakening process is designed to be an agonizing ordeal. Bound and helpless, Noah is dragged into the abyss, cursing Dylan for his betrayal. System notifications confirm his awakening of all 3 paths, unlocking a trio of powerful new abilities. His rank officially increases to F as his new classes gain their first few levels. The system grants him a significant boost to his core attributes and a handful of points to allocate. His consciousness snaps back to his body, finding himself still on the verge of death in the cult's chamber. Trembling from his wounds, he forces himself up from the ground, ready to face his grim reality. A system notification confirms his new exsanguinator ability, Blood Drain. He activates the skill, drawing life force from the fallen to rapidly regenerate his health. The fatal wound on his chest begins to seal as he flips himself upright. But the last cultist, Victrol, unleashes his own dark power, preparing for a final confrontation. A shadowy tendril lashes out, striking Aurelia with brutal force. She stands defiant, facing down the cultist as he manipulates the dark appendages. With her own power still simmering, she prepares to re-engage the final enemy. The system issues a new quest, formally tasking him with exterminating the cult's leader. It follows up with a sarcastic optional objective, try not to die this time. Before they can act, the cultist traps Aurelia in a swirling vortex of dark energy. A shadowy tendril lashes out, aiming to strike Aurelia down. With a defiant glare, Aurelia raises her arm and blocks the dark appendage. Her fist ignites with a furious blaze, channeling her own fiery power. She unleashes a torrent of flames, her entire body becoming a weapon. Aurelia charges forward, dodging a barrage of dark attacks from the floating cultist. The cultist cackles with glee as Aurelia prepares to meet his dark magic with her own fiery resolve. Their powers collide in a massive explosion just as Noah receives his updated quest. Lying on the floor, Noah examines his system screen, wondering how to best use his newfound power. His status window reveals his new classes and a fresh batch of attribute points ready for allocation. He immediately begins strategizing, debating whether to specialize or create a more balanced build. With a confident smirk, he strategically allocates his new attribute points, prioritizing agility and constitution. The system confirms his new, more balanced stats and a significant boost to his maximum mana. Meanwhile, the fiery battle between Aurelia and the final cultist continues to escalate. The cultist's dark magic sends Aurelia flying, but she lands with practiced ease, unfazed. She retaliates by slamming her fist into the ground, unleashing a devastating shockwave of fire. The sheer force of her attack shatters the stone floor, demonstrating her immense strength. The cultist's face contorts with rage, stunned by the ferocity of her counterattack. Aurelia telekinetically hurls the broken slabs of stone directly at her airborne opponent. The cultist swiftly evades the barrage of projectiles, weaving through the deadly assault. Their powers collide once more in a cataclysmic explosion of fire and shadow. Amidst the chaos, Noah spots the executioner's fallen sword and decides to claim it for himself. He opens his system inventory, preparing to store his newly acquired weapon. With the sword safely stashed away, he forces himself to stand ready to rejoin the fight. Noah glances over, his expression hardening as he assesses the escalating battle. He rushes forward as Aurelia is violently thrown back by the cultist's dark magic. His eyes lock onto the floating cultist, Victrol, who radiates an aura of pure menace. The cultist's eyes burn with fury as he attempts to de-escalate the situation. Clutching his chest, Noah desperately bluffs, claiming to be an emissary from the void itself. When the cultist scoffs, Noah presents the mysterious scroll as proof of his divine connection. Victrol's face contorts with rage, completely unconvinced by the audacious lie. He boldly claims the scroll is a direct message from the void, an answer to the cultist's devotion. Victrol glares with utter contempt, his expression revealing he's not falling for the ruse. Unfazed, Noah continues his performance, acting as if it's a great honor to deliver this divine message. The cult leader's fury erupts, his eyes glowing as he accuses Noah of daring to lie about such a sacred matter. A shadowy appendage whips past Noah's head, forcing him to dodge as his bluff completely falls apart. Just in the nick of time, a system notification reveals his new Astral Walker ability, Blink. He instantly activates the skill, teleporting across the room and leaving a shimmering afterimage in his place. Landing safely, Noah glances back, his system window still glowing beside him. Reaching into his inventory, he firmly grips the hilt of the executioner's massive sword. The formidable blade materializes from the holographic screen, ready to be unleashed. Wielding the massive blade, Noah leaps forward to deliver a devastating blow. But the cultist unleashes a wave of dark energy, deflecting the attack and sending Noah flying. Despite the counter, Noah's blade finds its mark, leaving a deep gash across the cultist's chest. He slides across the stone floor, quickly regaining his footing for the next move. The cult leader stumbles back, clutching his wound in disbelief at the mortal's audacity. Seizing the opening he created, Noah shouts a command to his fiery head ally. Answering the call, Aurelia slams her foot down, shattering the ground with a fiery eruption. She intercepts the cultist's desperate attack, her raw power overwhelming his dark magic. With a final decisive blow, Aurelia drives her flaming fist into the cultist's back. She then unleashes a torrent of fire, launching her defeated foe across the chamber. The cult leader reels back in agony, his body unable to withstand the fiery impact. Without a moment's hesitation, Aurelia launches herself into the air to continue her relentless assault. She unleashes a furious volley of fiery strikes, overwhelming the helpless cultist in midair. Each blow lands with devastating force, leaving the cult leader completely at her mercy. Gathering her power, she prepares to end the fight with a single decisive kick. Her final fiery attack sends the cultist crashing down, and a system notification confirms their victory. Noah watches as his system screen lights up, announcing his classes have gained several new levels. As Aurelia lands, another notification details his significant stat boosts and a new batch of attribute points. The system confirms his quest is complete and reveals his absorbed part of the chief's power. Utterly spent but victorious, Noah throws his hands up in sheer unadulterated relief. Lying on the floor, Noah cheekily tells his fiery ally that she owes him an explanation. Unimpressed, she demands to know who he is and how he was summoned. Her hand ignites as she voices her distrust, explaining she can't relax until she knows he's not a threat. She presses him for answers, pointedly asking if he's even from this world. Noah breaks into a cold sweat, realizing the danger of answering her questions incorrectly. He internally debates whether to reveal his otherworldly origins, knowing it could be a death sentence. After a moment of tense silence, he firmly denies being from another world. Her fiery suspicion grows as she questions his allegiance to the cult or a group called the Iron Fists. Pushing himself to a sitting position, he feigns ignorance about the factions she mentions. Face to face with the intimidating woman, he vehemently denies any knowledge of the group she named. Her fiery demeanor cools as she apologizes for her earlier hostility, thanking him for his help. Noah explains his own guardedness, revealing he was betrayed by his former adventuring party. She acknowledges his difficult day, and the tension between them finally begins to ease. He tries to justify his cautious strategy by mentioning a quest with an objective not to die, confusing her completely. His attempt to explain role-playing games only leaves Aurelia more bewildered by his strange vocabulary. Deciding to be direct, he introduces himself as Noah and bluntly states he was reborn into this world after dying. Her suspicion returns instantly as she knows resurrection is impossible without a god's power. He throws his hands up in surrender, confessing he's just as confused by his situation as she is. Convinced by his honesty, she accepts he's a rare otherworlder, and her suspicion finally fades. She then plops down on the floor right in front of him, leaving Noah baffled by her sudden change in posture. He questions her sudden calm, insisting they should be escaping instead of meditating. Her knowing glance confirms his otherworldly nature as she realizes he's truly not from this realm. She explains that meditation is the primary way for warriors like them to replenish their exhausted mana. He's baffled by her mention of his aura, a concept completely foreign to him and his world. The local customs and terminology of this new world leave him utterly lost and confused. He awkwardly compares their power to simple magic tricks, which he finds amusing given his dark choice of class. Her comment makes him sweat, and he anxiously asks if his exsanguinator path is considered taboo. She reassures him that his path is fine with the Adventurers Guild so long as he avoids darker magic. As he attempts to meditate, a new system window materializes above his head. The system confirms his learned the meditation skill, boosting his mana recovery and inspiring him to explore his other powers. He decides to use the downtime to explore the full extent of his new powers. The system displays his 3 new abilities, Blood Drain, Blink, and the ominous-sounding Obliterate. Already familiar with the first 2, he focuses on the mysterious 3rd skill from his Void Hunter class. The description reveals it channels the Void's energy to annihilate anything in his path. As he tests the skill, a dark energy coalesces in his hands, but a warning flashes that it's draining his health. A confident grin spreads across his face, glad his exsanguinator path can counteract the dangerous drawback. Just as Aurelia finishes her recovery and stretches, she announces it's time for them to leave. The pair walks past the dissolving remains of the cult chief, leaving the chamber of their ordeal behind. Aurelia suddenly stops, leaning over to inspect something she's found, catching Noah's attention. She holds up an ornate golden artifact explaining it's a powerful spatial storage device. Aurelia explains they'll need to get to a city to have any hope of opening the golden artifact. Noah ponders the convenience of a physical inventory, wondering if his system has a similar function. She reveals a major complication. The device is blood-bound, making it impossible for anyone but the owner to access. While searching the chief's body, she explains they'll need his key or an expert to bypass the lock. Noah asks to inspect the artifact, and Aurelia casually tosses the supposedly impenetrable device to him. As he examines the artifact, his eyes glow with a familiar blue light, a plan forming in his mind. A system window materializes, offering to bypass the blood magic and transfer the contents to his inventory. With a confident smirk, he bypasses the ancient security measure with a simple press of a button. A flood of notifications confirms his success, revealing a hoard of valuable loot from the chief's stash. Completely unaware of his system-powered theft, Aurelia continues her search for a cellar key. Noah casually presents the golden key he found, leaving Aurelia completely stunned. He explains it came from the chief's storage, listing off the impressive haul of loot he acquired. She marvels at his ability to bypass the blood lock as he drops the key into her hand. Deciding he needs a wardrobe change, he pulls a new set of clothes directly from his system inventory. He dons a new shirt and a dark cloak, then turns his attention to the more ominous items he looted. The system identifies a particularly unsettling piece of jewelry, the Ring of the Abyssal Eye. Aurelia recognizes the ring, confirming it's cursed but offers a significant boost to mana capacity. Despite its creepy ever-watching eye, he equips the ring immediately, receiving a skill upgrade notification. The system details the ring's powerful enchantments, boosting his mana, perception, and identification skill. With their business concluded, Aurelia unceremoniously kicks the chief's body aside, clearing their path. He glances over at Aurelia, his enhanced perception activating. The system reveals she's a level 68 Flame Warden, nearly as powerful as the cult chief. Turning back to his loot, he scrolls through the chief's impressive collection of items. A wicked grin spreads across his face as he discovers a new set of weapons. He materializes an ornate glowing dagger from his system inventory. With a few practice swings, he celebrates his newly acquired and very free arsenal. Meanwhile, Aurelia calmly steps over the remains of their defeated foe. A small flame ignites in her palm as she turns to confront Noah. She astutely asks if this was his first time taking a life, and he wonders how she could tell. Her expression turns serious as she explains her experience allows her to recognize the signs. Noah questions her motivations and she lists the typical rewards of an adventurer's life. But her true reason is a deep-seated desire to help people and fight the evil in the world. She then turns the question back on him, asking if he has any regrets about what he did to survive. He confidently states he has none, as it was a clear case of kill or be killed. Aurelia approves, revealing she was also betrayed by fellow adventurers who handed her to the cult. His attention turns back to his system where he finds a new skill tome to claim. Pulling the book from the screen, he asks for her opinion and she confirms he has the makings of a great adventurer. She praises his quick thinking and composure, impressed by how he handled the crisis. Noah accepts the compliment with a genuine grateful smile. After a moment of self-reflection, he asks how to use his new tomes and she reveals it will require a special ritual. Aurelia explains that he'll need a ritual circle to use the tome, which she offers to draw. But as she speaks, the tome in Noah's hand erupts with blue light, leaving her completely stunned. Ignoring her advice, Noah places his hand on the book, confident he can use it directly. The tome floats into the air and opens on its own, defying all of Aurelia's expectations. A system window materializes, offering to unlock a sight-based ability from the tome. With a determined look, Noah prepares to accept the system's offer and claim his new power. The system then prompts him to choose which of his 3 classes will receive the new skill. He decisively selects the Void Hunter path, and the system confirms the tome has been consumed. A notification confirms his unlocked Void Hunter's eye, and a glowing symbol materializes over his face. The Ring of the Abyssal Eye immediately activates, boosting his new skill to level 3. A brilliant light erupts as Noah absorbs the tome's power, a glowing symbol appearing on his forehead. His vision sharpens, the world around him coming into focus with newfound clarity. Overjoyed by his enhanced senses, he revels in the high-definition clarity of his new reality. He eagerly turns to Aurelia, ready to boast about his newfound ability to see mana. She calmly corrects his assumption, explaining that what he's actually perceiving is her powerful aura. Looking down at his own glowing hands, he realizes the purple energy enveloping him is his own aura. His modern slang for awesome only serves to confuse Aurelia further. Undeterred, he moves on to the second tome, which the system identifies as a rare tome of infliction. The book dissolves into energy, granting his exsanguinator class a new ability, Bleed. Aurelia is impressed, confirming that the ability to apply status effects to weapons is a rare and valuable skill. Aurelia tells him to consume a low-grade mana stone before they depart. He asks about the risks of a higher-grade stone, and she warns him of mana poisoning. She explains that a slightly stronger stone offers a minor boost but comes with a painful price. A much stronger stone provides a temporary surge of power, which she demonstrates with a flex. However, she warns that the resulting paralysis and agony are often lethal. Consuming anything more potent, she cautions, results in immediate explosive self-destruction. She grimly illustrates the alternative, a slow, agonizing demise as the mana ravages the body from within. Undeterred by the gruesome details, Noah smirks, ready to continue their mission. As they navigate the ruins, Aurelia reveals her intention to raid the cult's storage chamber for magical artifacts. She also mentions searching for the belongings of someone she was sent to find, making Noah wonder if others are still alive. Aurelia clenches her fist, revealing she was the last survivor of the cult's underground dungeon. She cautions him to stay alert for lingering traps, cultists, or monsters as they proceed. The pair cautiously makes their way down a long stone-paved corridor. They venture deeper into the ruins, the path now overgrown with ancient vines. Peeking around a doorway, Noah asks if she still has the golden artifact. He hands the ornate storage device back to her, having already looted its contents. Aurelia's hand ignites with fire as she prepares to use the artifact. She raises the device high, and it emits a brilliant light, revealing a hidden passage. The light illuminates a massive wall covered in strange ruins, and Noah wonders what drove the cultists to such extremes. He reflects on the dark side of humanity, realizing it's a constant even in this new world. Aurelia lists the many temptations that lead people down a dark path from power to false promises. She asserts that the cultists they faced were all adults who willingly chose their fate. As she kneels by the passage, Noah gestures toward the strange shimmering energy ahead. Aurelia identifies the shimmering area as an illusionary trap they must leap across to proceed. Noah clarifies his concern isn't for the cultists, but for any innocents who were forced into this life. Her expression hardens as she explains that priests have fought the influence of the abyss for centuries. She describes a brutal purification ritual by fire, a punishment and public execution for cultists. The few who endure the agonizing process are said to be irrevocably altered by the experience. Noah trembles at the thought, horrified by the idea of a child being subjected to such cruelty. She grimly explains that children are given a swift end, a harsh reality as they approach a spiked pit. Aurelia suddenly stops, her attention fixed on something just ahead. They discover a massive doorway sealed by a shimmering blue magical barrier. Deciding diplomacy is overrated, she announces her plan to simply punch her way through. Her fist ignites with a furious blaze, channeling immense power into her gauntlet. With a determined glare, she unleashes a devastating fiery punch. The magical seal shatters in a cataclysmic explosion, blasting them both backward. Noah smirks at her explosive problem-solving skills as she sighs at the aftermath. Stepping through the wreckage, they find themselves in what appears to be the cult chief's private study. After a quick search, Aurelia determines the room is disappointingly empty of valuables. Noah reasons that a paranoid cult leader would never keep their real treasures in such an obvious place. He taps his foot, a classic movie trope coming to mind as he scans the room. Spotting a bookshelf, he begins pulling out volumes, searching for a hidden mechanism. He grips one of the books, his instincts telling him this is the one. A system notification pops up, identifying the book as a rare skill tome for summoning. He waves the notification away, prioritizing the search for the chief's secret stash. Relying on old movie logic, he begins tapping each book on the shelf, much to Aurelia's confusion. One of the books recedes into the shelf, revealing a hidden keyhole behind it. He pulls the chief's golden key from his system inventory, ready to test his theory. With a confident look, Noah holds up the key, certain he's found the entrance. He inserts the key into the lock, hearing a satisfying click as it turns. The entire bookshelf rumbles, slowly sliding to the side to reveal what lies behind it. As a secret passage opens, Noah is genuinely surprised that his movie-inspired hunch paid off. Aurelia asks how he knew, and he explains it's a common trope from his world stories. They peer down into the newly revealed path, finding a grim blood-stained floor. To illuminate the darkness, Aurelia conjures a small orb of light on her fingertip. The light reveals a long horrifying corridor lined with empty prison cells. Before they can proceed, a new system notification flashes in front of Noah. The system announces a hidden quest, challenging him to uncover the secrets of this dark place. He explains his new objective is to solve the chamber's mystery despite the unknown rewards. They both share a grim look, acknowledging the ominous nature of their new path. Noah places a hand on Aurelia's shoulder, advising her to stay behind for her own safety. She turns the tables, pointing out that as a newly awakened adventurer, he's the one in real danger. Aurelia dismisses his F-rank status, stating this mission is far too perilous for a novice. Kneeling by a grim stain, she insists he should be hunting low-level monsters, not delving into a cult's den. He suggests a tactical retreat, proposing they go to a nearby town and gather reinforcements. She refuses, revealing that her former treacherous teammates are likely still in the area. Aurelia explains her other companions were slain, and she must find their bodies before they are reanimated as undead horrors. Understanding her resolve, Noah taps his chest and decides to accompany her on this grim task. With a determined look, he vows to protect her, promising she won't fall in this place. She playfully scoffs at his bravado while he retorts in frustration, reminding her of his role in their recent victory. She admits he's surprisingly adept with magic, but he cheekily credits his gaming habits, leaving her baffled. Reaching a fork in the corridor, Aurelia uses her light to guide them down the left path. As they squeeze through a narrow passage, Aurelia explains the cramped design is a deliberate defensive measure. She tests the wall, revealing it's forged with mana, and Noah is impressed by its durability. They arrive at another sealed door, and Noah wryly asks if she plans to use her usual brute force method. To his surprise, she simply tries the doorknob, finding the door unlocked. She cautiously opens the door, pulling him back as she steps forward to take the lead. Stepping inside, she concedes he was right as they find a room littered with arcane papers. The room is revealed to be the cult chief's secret study, filled with books and research. While she struggles to decipher the scattered notes, Noah points to a book she's holding, certain it contains the cultist's plans. She reads from the chief's journal, learning he was trying to create a chimera from his familiar. The journal details a second more successful prototype that retained its intelligence but was ultimately lost. The notes reveal the process was unstable, and the chief needed a stronger E-rank awakened as a base for his next creation. As Noah reads the final entry, his system announces his hidden quest is complete, offering no reward. Suddenly, a volley of shadowy daggers materializes, flying directly at the surprised duo. Aurelia reacts instantly, grabbing Noah and pulling him out of the study just as the attack hits. They stop in the main chamber, catching their breath as they look back toward the source of the ambush. One of the fallen cultists rises, muttering about his master's sorrow as he prepares to attack. Before he can act, a loud thud from a nearby cage draws both Noah and Aurelia's attention. A monstrous flesh-grafted creature with 3 eyes slams against the bars as a system window identifies the new threat. Aurelia realizes with horror that the grotesque creature is fused from the bodies of her fellow prisoners. Noah observes that the monstrous amalgam seems completely uninterested in them for now. The pair lets out a collective sigh of relief, believing they've avoided another fight. But the creature's attention suddenly snaps to Noah, its many voices muttering about its master's ring. The reanimated cultist raises his hand, revealing the abyssal eye ring that now belongs to Noah. Noah's face pales as he realizes the monster is targeting him specifically for the stolen artifact. With a furious roar, the chimera shatters its cage and lunges directly at its new target. Aurelia unleashes a blast of fire to intercept the monster, giving Noah a chance to escape. As Noah dodges the attack, a system window flashes before his eyes. A new quest appears, tasking him with escaping the vengeful familiar for an epic-grade reward. Noah angrily dismisses the quest notification, knowing now is not the time for distractions. The grotesque chimera's 3 eyes fixate on him, its many voices whispering a vengeance for its fallen master. In a flash, the monster crushes the reanimated cultist under its hand, its sole focus now on Noah. The creature's initial attack sends Noah flying as he desperately signals to Aurelia that they need to flee. The force of the blow also sends Aurelia crashing to the ground, momentarily stunned by the impact. The monstrous amalgam lands heavily in a pool of water, its fused bodies crawling relentlessly toward its target. It lets out a horrifying roar, its massive tongue lashing out with terrifying speed. Just as he scrambles to escape, a crimson hand grabs his cloak, pulling him back into the fray. Caught by the monster's tongue, Noah tries to teleport only to find his blink ability has mysteriously failed. The creature's main head grins with sadistic glee, savoring the moment as it holds him captive. A system notification confirms his aura is suppressed, disabling his blink ability just as Aurelia's flames sever the monster's tongue. Freed from its grasp, Noah scrambles away as the burning appendage thrashes wildly on the floor. The monster's gaze shifts to Aurelia, its eye glowing with a malevolent green energy as it identifies her as an obstacle. With a horrifying grin, the amalgam of faces declares its intent to annihilate them both. Aurelia slides back, defending against the creature's relentless assault with her fiery power. She realizes her flames are not enough to overcome its rapid regeneration and begins to strategize a new approach. In response, the creature's body erupts into a mass of deadly spikes, preparing for a devastating counter. Noah recoils from a piercing mental shriek, but a system notification confirms he has resisted its debilitating effects. The spined horror launches itself through the air, casting a menacing shadow as it descends upon them. Aurelia is struck by a volley of sharp projectiles, pinning her to the ground and leaving her vulnerable. Pinned but not beaten, Aurelia shatters the spikes with a furious volley of fiery strikes. She unleashes a massive concussive blast of fire, obliterating her restraints in a single move. Landing gracefully amidst the fiery aftermath, she regains her footing completely unfazed. She checks on Noah, who confirms he's fine, just dealing with the ringing in his ears from her explosive counter. The monstrous chimera staggers back, its spiky hide smoking and damage from the powerful attack. Recovering quickly, the creature spins, gathering its remaining spikes for another deadly assault. It unleashes a whirlwind of sharp projectiles, sending a storm of shadowy barbs hurtling toward them. Both Noah and Aurelia expertly dodge the lethal barrage, weaving through the deadly attack. Aurelia retaliates mid-air, launching a concentrated burst of fire directly at the spinning monster. Her eyes blaze with fiery determination as she prepares to unleash the full extent of her power. Wreathed in fire, Aurelia dives from the air, aiming a decisive blow at the spinning monstrosity. Her fist connects in a cataclysmic explosion, engulfing the chimera's head in a torrent of flames. She lands with practiced ease, leaving a fiery trail as the amalgam of bodies begins to writhe. The many faces fused into the creature cry out in silent agony, their forms contorting in the blaze. Aurelia holds her ground, her fiery power forming a barrier against the desperate crawling mass. Noah's expression darkens as he recognizes the helpless human-like quality of the creature's pained voices. With grim determination, Aurelia gathers her remaining energy, preparing to end its suffering. She unleashes a towering pillar of fire, intending to completely incinerate the grotesque horror. The chimera is caught in the fiery vortex, its twisted form consumed by the relentless inferno. Noah watches in disbelief, a bead of sweat rolling down his face as he senses the creature is somehow still alive. Noah watches in horror as the smoldering mass on the floor begins to stir, proving his fears correct. The creature's flesh twitches and shudders, its fused bodies writhing in what seems to be agonizing pain. Its charred form cracks open, revealing a new, more terrifying shape emerging from within. The chimera transforms into a draconic horror, unleashing a piercing silent scream that echoes through the chamber. A system notification confirms Noah has been hit by a mental attack, but his will has partially resisted it. Despite his resistance, a cascade of debuffs floods his system, weakening his stats and regeneration. Staggering from the psychic assault, Noah barely registers the monster's tail whipping toward him. The creature's tail smashes into the ground with incredible force, narrowly missing its target. Just in the nick of time, Noah activates his blink skill, teleporting out of the immediate danger zone. But his escape is short-lived as the monster instantly closes the distance, slamming him with a brutal strike. The creature's tongue ensnares Aurelia, but she struggles fiercely against its powerful grip. With a flick of its head, the monster hurls her with enough force to shatter the stone wall. Its three eyes then swivel, locking onto its primary target, Noah. The draconic horror lunges forward, its tongue whipping through the air with deadly intent. Noah activates Blink at the last second, teleporting just as the attack would have landed. He reappears behind the beast as a system window announces his Blink skill has reached level 2. The monster crashes into the ground, its attack thwarted by Noah's timely escape. Noah's face contorts with alarm, realizing the immense danger he's in. From across the chamber, the injured Aurelia watches the unfolding chaos with grim determination. Seeing his ally is down, Noah watches in horror as the creature turns its malevolent gaze back toward her. Realizing his ally is in peril, Noah prepares to use his Blink ability to intervene. He plunges his dagger into the beast's back, but a system window confirms the creature resisted his bleed effect. The monster retaliates with a vicious tail swipe, forcing Noah to blink away from the deadly blow. Reappearing midair for another strike, a system notification warns him that his mana is critically low. In a desperate move, he pulls out a mana stone, his eyes glowing with resolve as he prepares to use it. He consumes the stone, instantly restoring his mana at the cost of minor poisoning, and unleashes a powerful counterattack. Ignoring the pain, he presses his advantage with a rapid series of energized slashes. His relentless assault brings the draconic horror crashing to the ground as he leaps to safety. The strain of the fight becomes apparent as he trembles, realizing how much mana he's expended. Just then, a system notification reminds him of his life-stealing ability, Blood Drain. He attempts to use Blood Drain, but a system notification confirms the creature has resisted the ability. Undeterred, he blinks above the downed monster, preparing to strike from the air. With a bead of sweat on his brow, he grips his dagger, his expression hardening with resolve. He unleashes a flurry of energized slashes, carving into the creature's hide. Notifications confirm his inflicted bleed, but the monster resists as his mana plummets to critical levels. Using the creature's massive body as a springboard, he leaps away to create some distance. In a desperate gamble, he pulls out a high-grade monostone and consumes it without hesitation. The system confirms his mana is overcharged and his stats are boosted, but is now afflicted with mana poisoning. Fueled by his newfound power, he blinks away from the monster's retaliatory strike with ease. Channeling his dark energy, Noah prepares to unleash his ultimate skill, Obliterate. He plunges his daggers into the creature's head, unleashing his ultimate skill, Obliterate. Using the creature's back as a launch pad, he leaps away to reposition for another attack. With a look of intense concentration, he prepares to press his overcharged assault. He unleashes a wide-arching slash, his daggers crackling with immense power. Combining Blink and Obliterate, he becomes a blur of motion, striking the beast from all sides. His relentless assault pays off as system notifications confirm both his skills have leveled up. Believing the fight is over, he holds his dagger aloft, confident he's delivered the final blow. To ensure its demise, he drives his daggers down into the creature's dissolving form for one last strike. But the creature retaliates, its massive jaws reforming and clamping down to trap him. The temporary power fades and a flood of system notifications confirms his buffs have expired, leaving him paralyzed and in agony. The monster roars in frustration, preparing to swallow the paralyzed Noah whole. Its long tongue wraps around his body, constricting him as it pulls him into its maw. Completely enveloped and helpless, Noah is dragged across the floor, unable to resist. From across the chamber, the injured Aurelia can only watch as her ally is consumed. The creature's throat bulges, the faces on its flesh contorting as it swallows him. Its entire body shudders violently, reacting to the unwilling meal inside it. Suddenly, a dagger pierces through from within, and a notification confirms his inflicted bleed. A flood of system messages reveals his used blood drain to heal and reduce his paralysis. The monster writhes in agony as the internal bleed effect intensifies, causing it immense damage. Its flesh begins to tear and stretch as Noah fights to carve his way out from the inside. Noah bursts forth from the creature's dissolving remains, having carved his way to freedom. He takes a weary step forward, leaving a trail of the monster's essence as Aurelia watches from afar. A barrage of system notifications confirms his victory, granting him multiple level-ups and a significant stat boost. The system announces his quest is complete, upgrading his reward to a legendary Grey Tome of Lifeblood. Just as he collapses, a new notification reveals a mysterious entity has absorbed the monster's power. He stares at the progress bar, realizing something is unlocking far beyond its intended limit. The system simply flashes a single ominous word, unlocking. Overwhelmed by the battle and the mysterious system event, his consciousness begins to fade. The strain finally takes its toll, and he collapses face first onto the cold stone floor. Unconscious and vulnerable, Noah lies motionless as the injured Aurelia looks on, unable to help. Noah's hand trembles as he slowly regains consciousness amidst the monster's remains. He struggles to his knees, clutching his head in agony as a system window flickers beside him. Forcing himself into a meditative pose, he tries to recover, and the system confirms his mana regeneration has increased. But his body is immediately racked by a violent surge of unstable energy. The backlash throws him to the ground, and he cries out, completely baffled by what's happening to him. A flood of notifications reveals the cause. He's afflicted with multiple debilitating status effects from the Mana Stone. Aurelia approaches, noting his awake and wryly asking if he's doing all right. She walks past, admitting it's a miracle they survived and that he had to save her life yet again. With a frustrated look, she berates herself for being so easily defeated despite her experience. She stops directly in front of him, her bare feet just inches from his face. She calmly announces her intention to help him sort out his mana poisoning. Aurelia casually dismisses his gruesome state, explaining it's not a major concern. She reveals that while uncomfortable, mana poisoning is rarely lethal and has a simple fix. Aurelia instructs him to sit and release all his mana until his reserves are completely empty. The two adventurers sit opposite each other, ready to begin the purging process. Following her instructions, Noah unleashes a powerful surge of purple energy from his core. A system notification confirms he is successfully draining his corrupted mana. The system displays the immense strain on his heart as he rapidly expels the energy. Another notification flashes warning him that his mana levels have become dangerously low. Completely drained, he hunches over gasping for breath from the exertion. The violent purge finally ends and he slams onto the floor completely spent. A system window confirms his success, announcing the mana poisoning has been purged. Aurelia calmly explains the strange sensation will pass as his mana naturally regenerates. She warns him that his regeneration will be impaired for a couple of days, so he asks for a healing item. Aurelia provides a flask of water, which he gratefully accepts and drinks. With his immediate crisis handled, he decides it's time to claim his legendary reward. As he prepares to use it, the legendary tome erupts with a brilliant golden light. A system window identifies the legendary tome of Lifeblood, offering to unlock its ability. Accepting the prompt, the tome bursts into golden energy that flows directly into him. A notification confirms his Exsanguinator class has unlocked the powerful new ability, Lifeblood. The system details his new Lifeblood skill, which doubles his health regeneration and grants poison immunity. Aurelia asks about the power she felt, and he explains his new ability to store health for later. She complains with a frustrated look that he seems to be hoarding all the unfairly powerful skills. Unfazed, she shrugs and points out the inherent unfairness of his world having magic, and he agrees. His attention is drawn back to his system as he contemplates the mysterious item that was unlocking. A new notification confirms the item is ready, asking if he wishes to consume the unknown reward. He swipes the prompt, materializing a small unassuming book from the system interface. The system identifies the mysterious item as a shard of infinite potential. He reasons that this shard should enhance his identify skill, allowing him to learn more about his ring. A new notification reveals the shard can be consumed to gain an aspect and unlock a hidden seal. Noah questions the shard's incomplete description, and Aurelia explains it's likely due to a seal or his weak identification skills. Ignoring her warning that the item might be broken, he decisively presses the prompt to consume it. A system notification confirms he has consumed the mysterious, unidentified shard. He's immediately overwhelmed by a cascade of system alerts, one alarmingly mentioning genetic modification. The intense system feedback forces him to his knees, drawing the attention of a concerned Aurelia. He struggles to process the relentless stream of information flashing before his eyes. Amidst the chaos, a new quest appears, challenging him to find more of these powerful scattered shards. His body suddenly convulses as sharp crimson spikes painfully erupt from his back. The The system announces his transformation is incomplete before a mysterious entity called Devourer applies a purify effect. A vortex of dark energy erupts from him, and he wonders why he is being purified as the force pulls him forward. He violently expels a dark, corrupt substance, his eyes wide with shock and pain. The world spins as he collapses to the floor, overwhelmed by the violent internal purge. As he lies in a heap, a new system notification chimes into existence before him. The system announces he's been purified, enhancing his abilities and removing all his negative afflictions. Through the haze of pain, he begins to process the unexpected and powerful cleanse he just endured. Aurelia approaches cautiously, watching him lie motionless in the aftermath of the bizarre event. She's stunned by the sheer volume of corruption he expelled, wondering about the toxic nature of his home world. Later, Noah washes away the grime and corruption under a steady stream of water. He reflects on his new reality, a stark contrast to the mundane life he led just one day before. The system comically chimes in, confirming his shower has cleansed him and removed his exhaustion. Feeling refreshed, Noah dries himself off, his physique noticeably more defined after the recent trials. Back in his room, he pulls up his attribute screen, finding a substantial number of points ready to be allocated. Swiping to the next screen, he's stunned by a new unexpected addition to his abilities. The system reveals he's gained the Devourer aspect, a unique trait that boosts his growth in all his stats. He marvels at the immediate power boost, but wonders about the full potential of the growth attribute. The system clarifies that this new attribute allows his strength to increase through both magical means and his own efforts. Testing his new power, he channels his energy, and a notification confirms a massive surge in his power attribute. Notifications flood his vision, confirming significant boost to his agility, constitution, and mystic stats as well. Just then, Aurelia peeks into the room, surprised to find him already awake and radiating newfound power. Flustered by her sudden appearance, he explains he just finished cleaning up and awkwardly offers her the same. Aurelia casually informs a surprised Noah that she has already bathed. She explains with a confident smile that she took care of it while he was unconscious. He thoughtfully calculates that he must have been out for at least an hour. She asks if he's ready to leave, eager to get moving from the grim location. Without waiting for an answer, she leaps away, announcing they have another destination. He questions her cleanliness again, but she simply shows him her clean bandaged hand. He squints, still skeptical that she could be clean after their intense battle. She demonstrates her power by placing a hand on his shoulder, instantly drying his wet clothes with her heat. She boasts that her fire abilities make her immune to the cold while he fondly recalls his love for winter. As they walk toward a bright exit, he offers to introduce her to a sweet frozen treat from his world. Aurelia is completely baffled by his strange cultural references, unsure if it's a translation issue or just him. They finally step out of the grim ruins and into a vibrant sunlit forest. Noah is taken aback by the sudden brightness and the sounds of the living world around them. While Aurelia expresses her relief at seeing the sky, Noah stares upward in utter disbelief. He's stunned to discover this world has two suns, a fact Aurelia finds completely normal. He questions the logistics of a two-sun system, but she gives him a very straightforward explanation. She elaborates on the unique day-night cycle, which includes a first dawn and a final dusk. Noah contemplates the strange new concept of a world with two distinct dawns. A system notification suddenly appears, confirming his escape quest is complete and unlocking a map feature. His eyes flash as the new map system integrates, instantly feeding him geographical information. Noah asks about a small charm Aurelia found, which she explains is a non-magical item meant to protect children. Her grim revelation that she found the child's charm in a prison cell gives Noah a somber realization. A new system quest tasks him with returning the charm to Leifar village, setting their next destination. Without warning, Aurelia suddenly bolts past him, jolting him out of his thoughts. She stops in a clearing, deciding they'll camp for the night and offering to teach him the basics of adventuring. He bows respectfully, playfully calling her his senior, which leaves her suspicious of his true intentions. As they settle in for the night, he assures her is being sincere, though his tone suggests otherwise. The next morning, Noah is stunned by an unexpected sight, asking Aurelia for an explanation. She casually reveals their new mode of transport, two massive armored creatures she found and tamed. He eyes the giant beasts warily, questioning if they are safe to ride or if they are more likely to become a meal. Aurelia confidently refutes his concerns, easily mounting one of the beasts. She explains the creatures, called armadillos, are tame herbivores known to cooperate with humans. Noah nods in understanding, his skepticism fading as he accepts her explanation. He stands before his own designated mount while Aurelia waits patiently on hers. Noah cautiously approaches the grazing creature, giving its armored shell a tentative pat. He attempts to climb onto the armadillo's broad, slippery back. His first attempt ends in failure as he loses his footing and tumbles to the ground. Seeing his clumsy effort, Aurelia nudges her mount forward with her heel. She laughs and rides ahead, leaving a frustrated Noah scrambling on the forest floor. Unwilling to be left behind, Noah prepares to use his blink skill to catch up. He teleports onto the creature's back, striking a proud pose as if he'd mounted it with ease. But his victory is short-lived as the beast lurches forward, nearly throwing him off balance. He frantically kicks its side, trying to get the stubborn creature to follow Aurelia. The Armadial gives him a knowing look, as if silently telling him to brace himself. Aurelia calls out a final warning to hold on tight as she leads the way into the dense forest. The creature's claws dig into the earth, preparing for a powerful launch. To his shock, the beasts defy gravity, sprinting vertically up a massive tree trunk. His mount makes a sudden sharp turn, and he struggles to maintain his grip. He's flung into the air, and Aurelia looks back in alarm as he plummets toward the ground. Just before impact, a system window confirms his activating his blink skill to save himself. He teleports just in time, catching a branch and dangling precariously above the forest floor. His relief is short-lived as the branch begins to crack under the strain. The branch gives way, sending him plummeting downward once again. He lands awkwardly on another branch, hanging upside down as Aurelia's laughter echoes through the trees. His mount finds him, offering a slobbery lick to his face much to his disgust. Aurelia can't contain her amusement, laughing at his complete lack of riding skills. Noah shoots her an irritated glare, clearly not appreciating being the source of her entertainment. Now properly seated, they race through the forest, and she playfully asks if he's enjoying himself yet. To her surprise, he's beaming with excitement, comparing the exhilarating ride to flying on a dragon's back. His comment catches her off guard, and she questions how he knows of dragons if his world lacks magic. He explains that his world has dragons but only in stories and myths, clarifying they aren't real. Noah elaborates that the closest equivalent were dinosaurs, gigantic creatures from millions of years ago. He adds that they were wiped out by a cataclysm long before humanity's existence. Aurelia notes that it's probably for the best, as elder dragons in her world can level entire cities. She reveals a conspiracy theory that dragon attacks are sometimes cover-ups for destruction caused by powerful awakened. Noah finds her theory interesting, mulling over the implications of such a cover-up. He asks for her opinion, and she confirms her belief in dragons, having witnessed many unbelievable things. Aurelia reasons that in a world with so many impossible creatures, dragons could easily exist. Noah agrees with her logic, adding that he's also encountered something that defied belief. He then struggles to remember the encounter, drawing a complete blank as Aurelia looks on, puzzled. Aurelia announces the end of the forest path, explaining they'll soon have to travel on foot. She estimates their destination is about 4 hours away as their mounts land on a solid road. To pass the time, she offers to give him a proper introduction to the world of Erendia. Riding down a wide path, they are spotted by villagers who excitedly identify them as adventurers. The pair continues forward, bathed in sunlight as they approach the village entrance. A large welcoming crowd has gathered to greet them with enthusiastic waves and cheers. The villagers' faces are filled with joy and excitement at the sight of the two heroes. Noah playfully asks if this celebrity treatment is a regular occurrence for her. She explains that such warm receptions are usually reserved for small, grateful villagers. Surveying the cheering crowd, Noah smiles, thinking he could get used to being a hero. As they ride through the cheering crowd, Noah enjoys the warm reception from the villagers. After dismounting, they are approached by a young villager who seems to be a stable hand. Noah gives his mount a grateful pat, thanking the creature for the journey. Aurelia hands the stable hand some monocores, instructing him to mix them into the creature's feed. The young man is stunned by the value of the monocores she's given him. Noah questions her generosity, and she explains that a good tip ensures better service, a lesson he notes is universal. She then advises him to be cautious, explaining that nothing about him is common sense in this world. Aurelia explains that while she might understand to the isolated villagers, his existence is completely alien. She wryly notes that a talking plant would probably raise fewer eyebrows than an outworlder. An innkeeper greets them as they step inside, ready to find lodging for the night. The friendly innkeeper asks the pair about the duration of their stay. Aurelia pays with 2 mana cores, requesting a room for 1 night with separate beds. The innkeeper slides a key across the counter, directing them to their room on the 2nd floor. Aurelia explains she has some business to attend to and asks if Noah wants to rest. He declines, preferring to stay and soak in the rare experience of a peaceful tavern. His morbid comment about not being murdered earns him a strange look from both Aurelia and the innkeeper. Aurelia warns him to watch his words before patting his shoulder and heading out on her own. Noah cheekily remarks to the innkeeper about her fiery spirit, admitting he finds it endearing. Another patron offers Noah a drink, guessing he's an adventurer for surviving the Lost Woods. The man figures that regardless of whether Noah is a fool or a hero, he could definitely use an ale. Noah agrees to the offer, admitting he could use a drink despite the early hour. The man loudly orders a mug of ale for Noah, and the waitress promptly obliges. The patron asks for his name and Noah introduces himself, confirming he's new to the area. The man slides a full mug across the table, preparing to share a surprising piece of information. As Noah takes a drink, he casually reveals he only awakened yesterday, stunning the older man. The man warns him against traveling with an E-ranker like Aurelia, assuming he's doing it for love. Noah ignores the warning, instead savoring the ale with a look of pure satisfaction. He clarifies that he was forced to awaken and Aurelia is simply helping him, which makes the man nostalgic. The man introduces himself as Lorien and the two shake hands in a friendly gesture. A system window identifies Lorien as a stone-carved warrior as Noah asks about his past as an adventurer. Lorien explains he's a retired adventurer, having lost his magic in an accident and quit while he was ahead. Intrigued, Noah asks what kind of monster could strip someone of their abilities. The old warrior begins his story, recalling a dungeon quest up north that went horribly wrong. He describes a sudden ambush by a translucent entity that paralyzed his party, killing two and blinding another. Lorien concludes his grim tale, admitting he lost his mana and never learned the creature's identity. As Noah drinks his ale, a system notification confirms his lifeblood ability has instantly purged the intoxication. He complains that he can't even get drunk, which leads Lorien to guess he has a powerful constitution ability. Lorien suggests deactivating the skill, and a system prompt immediately gives Noah the option to do so. A simple notification confirms his lifeblood ability has been successfully turned off. Finally able to enjoy his drink, Noah excitedly calls for another round to celebrate. Lorien explains he can use the ability to sober up instantly, a fact Noah finds absolutely hilarious. After a few more drinks, a system notification confirms he has successfully become intoxicated. He flinches as another notification reveals his lifeblood ability has automatically cleansed the effect. Now completely sober, Noah asks Lorien to elaborate on the lost villages he mentioned earlier. The old warrior confirms with a grim expression that people have been vanishing in the woods. He recounts how the disappearances began 6 months ago when 2 villagers went to investigate and never returned. Lorien explains that even adventurers found nothing, forcing the villagers to abandon the forest out of fear. The tragedy compounded when the local mines collapsed and no survivors were ever found in the rubble. He concludes that the villagers sealed the mines but recently hired new adventurers for one last look. The village is now divided, weighing the danger of the mines against the need for income to survive the winter. Lorien adds that strange howls and cries have been heard coming from the sealed mines. He explains the villagers are now terrified of a potential undead infestation. The old warrior notes that if the Adventurers Guild confirms an infestation, the entire village would be forced to evacuate, a fate no one wants. Stepping outside, Noah impatiently taps his foot while waiting for Aurelia. He stops as he notices a crowd of villagers murmuring and gathering down the street. Overhearing their conversation, he learns the mayor plans to seal the mines for good. The villagers panic, realizing that without the mines, their town is doomed. The concerned citizens rush off to confront the mayor about his decision. Noah watches as the anxious crowd gathers in front of what appears to be the town hall. Noah peeks into the crowded room, observing the tense standoff between the villagers. His system identifies the two main figures, a stressed-looking mayor and a furious stone-carved miner. The miner confronts the mayor, refusing to let the town starve, while the mayor argues against risking more lives. The mayor desperately tries to calm the crowd, pleading that he's only trying to ensure their survival. Aurelia suddenly appears beside Noah, questioning his presence, and he fires the same question back at her. She explains she came to get information on her betrayers, but Noah points out the mayor is a little busy. He casually recounts how he ended up there after a few drinks and a chat at the inn. When he asked if they should help, she reveals this is her plan as they need the mayor's help to leave. Deciding she's not being assertive enough, Noah steps forward to intervene, much to her shock. He smoothly interrupts the argument, telling the men he understands their goals and shares their desire for the village to prosper. He places a hand on each man's shoulder, suggesting they find a solution together instead of arguing. He gives them a confident smile, looking completely in control of the situation. From the crowd, a bewildered Aurelia watches the scene unfold, confused by his sudden move. He introduces himself as Noah Brown, a newly awakened adventurer, capturing the attention of the entire room. With a theatrical bow, he boldly declares himself the solution to all their problems. He breaks down their problem, explaining they need someone to investigate the dangerous mines. Snapping his fingers, he confidently implies that he is the perfect person for such a perilous task. The miner scoffs at the idea, questioning why they would send a newly awakened adventurer to certain doom. Noah reveals his trump card, pointing to Aurelia and announcing she will be coming with him. Aurelia cedes with silent rage, furious at being roped into his reckless plan without her consent. Aurelia steps forward, explaining her own quest might be connected to the village's troubles. The mayor recalls she arrived with a team and she confirms she's searching for them but will help. Noah adds with a smug grin that their assistance will, of course, come with a price. The mayor eagerly asks for their price and Noah cheekily requests an ability tome. The mayor suggests they travel to Windress City for better tomes as the villagers' selection is poor. He explains Windress is the nearest city with a guildhall and a steady supply of adventuring gear. Aurelia takes charge of the deal, demanding a D-grade mana stone and 2 horses for the job. The veteran miner volunteers to guide them and the mayor officially agrees to the terms. Noah enthusiastically shakes the mayor's hand, pleased to have sealed their business arrangement. A system notification chimes in, officially granting them the new quest, Trouble in the Mines. Aurelia taps Noah on the shoulder, confidently telling him it's her turn to take the lead. She turns to the miner, taking over the conversation while Noah watches with a satisfied smile. The miner then questions Noah, finding his age and recent awakening to be a strange combination. Noah explains he comes from a world without magic, which delayed his chance to awaken a path. This prompts the miner to ask if he's from a dead zone, a concept Noah is unfamiliar with. The miner elaborates, describing them as barren wastelands that drain the life from anything within them. Noah considers his own world, admitting it was more concrete than nature, but insists it wasn't a dead zone. The miner smiles, acknowledging that helping them will earn the villagers' gratitude regardless of Noah's origins. With a confident grin, Noah extends his hand ready to finalize the arrangement. They seal the deal with a firm handshake, agreeing to meet the next morning to begin the quest. Aurelia explains their next destination is Windress City, where they can find her team and register him with the guild. Eager to move on, she suggests they get the mind quest done quickly, and Noah readily agrees. Aurelia remembers her other quest, stating she must first return the child's charm she found. Noah offers to accompany her, and they set off together down a tree-lined path. Their journey leads them to the front porch of a modest village home. Noah steps forward and knocks firmly on the wooden door. The door is thrown open by a startled woman who immediately asks about someone named Pierce. As the woman looks on with a pained expression, Aurelia prepares to return the lost item. The woman's eyes fix on the charm, recognizing it as her son's. Clutching the memento, the grieving mother trembles as she asks for news of her missing child. With a heavy heart, Aurelia shakes her head, confirming the woman's worst fears. The mother collapses in grief as Noah and Aurelia witness the painful reality of their quest. A younger woman appears, asking them to help bring her distraught mother inside. Inside, the sister comforts her mother, revealing they had braced themselves for this terrible news. She tearfully thanks them for the closure, explaining they can now finally begin to move on. The sister says they have no reward, but Noah explains their new quest to search the mines is all the reason they need. Aurelia looks away, expressing her regret that she couldn't have done more to help. Noah places a comforting hand on her shoulder, offering a silent gesture of support. The grieving mother rises, her face a mask of sorrow as she asks to be excused. Just as they prepare to leave, the sister stops them, calling out with a sudden sense of urgency. The grieving mother clutches the charm, pleading to know what happened to her son. Her daughter, overwhelmed with sorrow, asks for the details of her brother's fate. Aurelia explains that her son, along with many others, was taken by a group of abyssal cultists. She reveals the cultists were performing grim rituals and that she and Noah nearly became victims themselves. Aurelia credits Noah with saving her life, adding that they searched for survivors but found no one. In a flashback to the dark prison, she concludes that the charm was the only trace left behind. The mother looks up with a mix of fear and hope, asking if they dealt with the cultists. Noah's expression hardens as he confirms he eliminated every last one of them. The mother closes her eyes, processing the finality of the news with a heavy heart. She begins to reminisce about her son, Pierce, describing his reckless habit of hunting monsters in the woods and mines. The mother reveals she was prepared for this outcome as her own husband was an adventurer. She explains that even after he settled down, the call to adventure never truly left him. She recounts losing her husband to that life and fearing her son would follow the same path. Despite her fear, she knew forcing him to stay would only cause him internal suffering. She turns to Noah and Aurelia, asking if they too possess that same unyielding desire for adventure. Noah pauses, admitting that he honestly doesn't have an answer to her question. He reflects on his recent struggles, explaining his journey has been about survival, but the idea of being an adventurer is growing on him. He admits the allure of his new powers is strong, and is eager to explore this new world. His choice of words confuses the young woman, who questions what he means by this world. Aurelia gives him a subtle nudge, and he quickly covers his slip-up by claiming he's just a traveler from a distant land. The grieving mother steps forward, announcing she has one final request for the adventurers. She offers her son's charm to Noah, asking him to carry it on his adventures in Pierce's memory. Noah accepts the memento, promising to treasure it as he continues his journey. The mother expresses her deep gratitude for the closure they've brought to her family. As they leave, a system notification confirms the quest is complete, and Noah waves a final goodbye. With the sun setting, Aurelia suggests they rest up for their early start at the mines tomorrow. Noah agrees, clutching his stomach and noting that monster slaying is best done on a full stomach. Aurelia chuckles, commenting that his attitude makes him seem like a seasoned adventurer already. The pair walks through the bustling village street as dusk settles, heading back to the inn. The next morning, they arrive at the foot of a cliff where the sealed entrance to the mines awaits. Their guide, Lorien, explains this area was once a young dungeon before its core was destroyed. Noah is shocked to learn dungeons can die, and Lorien confirms it's possible but foolish. He clarifies that a tamed dungeon is an invaluable resource capable of founding entire kingdoms. Aurelia wonders if it was an undead dungeon, a threat so great it would unite entire guilds to destroy it. Lorien dismisses her theory, clarifying it was just a standard Earth-type dungeon. Arriving at the boulder-sealed entrance, Noah contemplates using his own power to clear the way. Instead, the three of them begin chipping away at the rockfall with pickaxes, with Lorien taking the lead. The veteran miner then shatters a massive boulder with a single powerful kick. With the entrance cleared, Noah questions the miner's strength, who credits it to decades of experience and a bit of skill. Inside, Lorien points out the regenerated mana stones in the walls, a rare sight for a mine entrance. Aurelia reminds Noah to stay alert, warning that monsters could be lurking in the former dungeon. Noah grips his dagger, his eyes sharp and ready for whatever lies ahead. Their guide explains the mine has been eerily silent since the strange noises started. They arrive at a massive sealed stone door, the entrance to the deeper sections of the mine. The miner pushes the heavy doors open, revealing the path to the main section of the mines. As they step inside, they are greeted by the grim sight of bloodstains on the cavern floor. The group is horrified to discover the chamber is a scene of a recent brutal attack. The gruesome sight overwhelms Noah, who struggles to keep his composure. Suddenly, an unseen force assaults their minds, causing Noah and the miner to cry out in agony. Aurelia shouts and lunges forward, trying to stop whatever is compelling her companions. Unaffected by the mental assault, Aurelia uses Blink to get a better view of the chamber. Noah stares in horror to see the veteran miner, Lorien, lying motionless on the ground. He kneels beside the fallen man, desperately trying to understand what just happened. Lorien's eyes glow with a sinister light as dark tendrils crawl across his face, and he struggles to warn Noah. A wave of dread washes over Noah as he witnesses the miner's terrifying transformation. Shadowy tendrils erupt from Lorien, ensnaring Noah as the system identifies the new threat. From the entrance, Aurelia shouts a warning, seeing her companion trapped by the dark energy. A system notification bizarrely announces the completion of their quest, rewarding him with experience. A new, more dangerous quest appears, revealing the dark legacy they've stumbled upon as Lorien is lifted into the air. The entity fully consumes Lorien, twisting his features into a monstrous visage as he lets out a silent scream. Noah tightens his grip on his daggers, preparing to face the shadowy tendrils that now writhe freely. Aurelia's fist ignites as she warns their guide, Jerome, to get clear of the impending battle. The miner sweats grimly, accepting that this fight is far beyond his capabilities. The dark entity fully manifests, twisting into the horrifying form of a tendril-covered monster. It lunges at Noah with blinding speed, forcing him to dodge the chaotic assault. The creature suddenly teleports in a flash of dark energy, mirroring Noah's own blink skill. He watches in disbelief, realizing his opponent shares his unique teleportation ability. A massive pillar of flame erupts through the cavern, forcing Noah to brace against the intense heat. Aurelia stands as the source of the inferno, her fists blazing as she shields the terrified guide. As the monster vanishes into thin air, Noah scans the cavern, wondering where it has gone. A drop of dark ooze falls past his eye as he focuses on the new threat. He and Aurelia stare up as the creature hovers menacingly near the cavern ceiling. The tendril-covered beast dives down, its glowing eyes fixed on its prey. In a flash of blue light, Noah activates his blink skill to evade the attack. He reappears a short distance away, now armed with dual daggers and ready for combat. He teleports repeatedly, narrowly dodging a flurry of shadowy tendrils in a desperate dance for survival. Aurelia joins the fray, blasting the creature's face with a concentrated jet of fire. The monster shrieks in fury, its grotesque tongue lashing out as it reels from the fiery assault. Alright, that's the end of the story. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.